Okay, welcome. So what happened for those who weren't here is because Jeff used to do this at noon, and I usually tune in on Sundays, but not on Wednesdays. I didn't know there was a time change, so he asked me to do his Wednesday, and I just assumed it was at the same noon time. But thank you all for those who came back. And all right, so I'll give it a little short time because other people are going to the other link and they got to find this one. Yeah, people are coming in, so welcome. I hope you're all good. Oh yeah, happy Canada Day. It is Canada Day here in Canada. So my name is Jude. I'm a good friend of Jeff's. I showed up at Consciousness Explorers Club like about 6 or 7 years ago and hit it off with Jeff and then became good friends. And then, he kind of brought me in to be a teacher in the group. and over time, I've worked with him on a bunch of projects. It's been really great. I actually helped with the Calm app. I helped in kind of early stages and just kind of, figuring out kind of vision stuff when doing projects. So Jeff has asked me to guide today. Very honored to do so. He's in transit. So, and we're going to do kind of a nice body awareness practice, working with feelings. Anything else? Oh yeah, I want to plug. I recently started my own YouTube channel, which is mostly right now about mindfulness and how to practice mindfulness and the different challenges of practicing mindfulness and mindfulness style meditations. But I'm going to move into a lot more kind of therapeutic stuff because I'm also a counselor. I studied psychotherapy for a long time. So that's my other interest, is merging the meditative traditions and practices with kind of therapeutic, more like healing and growth practices. Oh yeah, and the YouTube channel is called Being Integrated. You can find it if you search Being Integrated. All right, so welcome all. This practice is going to be about working with body sensations and just essentially being okay with how we feel in the moment, but also being more clear with how we feel in the moment. So it's just noticing what's happening internally and how is that influencing me. So I find a lot of the time I'm drawn to distractions, like my phone or whatever else. And if you take a space and just notice before you have this urge to do something or to distract yourself, what's the experience happening in the body? And usually there's some subtle discomfort there. For me, it's often like this quality of restlessness that happens in this area. And if you can just practice being okay, just tuning in, noticing what does it really feel like to feel these sensations in the body, what's happening in the body, and then just practice being okay. It's kind of like exposure therapy where you're just saying it's okay to be uncomfortable. And through that, we can kind of grow a lot and curb our bad habits because we can realize, oh, I don't have to do this thing. I can just be okay with what's happening. I can be okay with the discomfort. So that's kind of the idea behind this practice. And we're going to get right into it. And then, so first we're going into this, just practicing being okay with whatever's arising and not trying to make anything happen, but just trying to let go of all making, all doing, and just notice what feelings are present. But then we're going to reward ourselves and cultivate some good feelings and some kind of self-compassion. So we'll try that at the end and see how that goes. So it's going to be like just feeling and then feeling good. That's the idea. So I'll start my timer. And I got a little. Okay. So start with some deep breaths. And every time I start meditating, it's finding these two qualities of being. The first is alertness. So sitting up straight on the in-breath, straightening, lengthening the spine, and finding that quality of alertness, of really being present with what's happening. And then on the out breath, you relax, the shoulders soften, and we find a quality of just allowing things to be as they are. So this balance of alertness and ease. And then just notice, tune into the body. I like to do this practice with my eyes closed usually, but you could do open or closed. But tune into the body and just notice what feelings are present in the body. You can look at physical sensations, just what does it feel like to have a body? What does it feel like to be sitting? And then look for more feeling kind of emotional, energetic sensations, like any kind of vibratory, any heaviness or lightness. And I usually tune into kind of the chest and abdomen area, as most of our emotional feelings are rooted in these areas, sometimes also the head or face. But I really try to come down out of the head because that's, where thoughts happen, and into the body, and just really feel what's happening in here. And sometimes it's not really an emotion and there's no real feeling, but there's maybe just like a heaviness or a density, or maybe there's a lightness and openness. It could be a subtle vibratory sensation or an expansion or maybe a contraction. So just being really clear, trying to be really curious about the sensations that are happening in our body, and just being totally open to them. Just being okay with whatever we find. And if we notice ourselves getting distracted with thoughts, just come back into the body, notice what we're feeling, and then you can go even a layer deeper and kind of notice the subtle sensations, whatever sensations you're paying attention to. See if you can find an even more subtle quality of feeling in the body. So we're really listening to what's happening in the body, listening with our feeling sense. And just notice if there's any sensations, if we're labeling them, try to let go of the labels or the concepts around our sensations and just experience them as they are, fresh, without any associations. Just experience the vibratory quality of the sensations. Again, being totally open to them, just allowing them to be as they are. And just notice, are the sensations in the body changing? Is there movement? Or is there maybe some rigidity? Maybe things aren't moving? Just be really curious, looking for these different qualities. Just how okay can you be with whatever you're feeling? Deepening this sense of acceptance, of just allowing things to be as they are. When you catch yourself thinking, again, just noticing what thoughts are arising and then gently bringing your attention back into the body and just as if for the first time, being really curious about what we're going to find. How clear can you be with the sensations in the body? Can you really zoom in, be really aware of the subtle texture of your experience? And how okay can you be with whatever you're experiencing? Just being totally hands off on your experience, not trying to change or control anything. Just really surrendering and allowing all the sensations to be just as they are, allowing them to move through you unobstructed. So now we're going to shift and try to cultivate a good feeling. And you can imagine some sort of setting or scenery that makes you feel really good. And I've often heard people use the prompts. Imagine yourself holding like a happy baby that's smiling, or a kitten or a puppy. There's something that brings about that type of goodness, that type of joy, the kind of a beautiful sunny day. And just notice if you can allow yourself to feel that. And it's okay if you can't. Often it's really hard to evoke feelings, but maybe you can. So just notice if there's any shift internally as we bring this image to mind and give ourselves permission to open to these feelings, to evoke them. I like to imagine my heart kind of radiating a golden light. It ignites like a match and just radiates this warm light through my whole being. And so even if you can't feel anything, you just stay with the intention, just the intention of allowing yourself to feel good. And this is very much a form of self-compassion. So when we're doing compassion practices and meditation, often we say, may you be happy, or may I be happy. And this is a way of really going for it, saying, may I feel just a little bit more happy. May I allow myself to, even if it's very subtle. And just notice what this is like now, this trying to evoke a good feeling, trying to allow ourselves to feel good. Is there effort in it? Is there resistance or frustration? Just notice what's happening and bring acceptance to that. Just allowing whatever result to be, not trying to manipulate the result. But if we can find this good feeling, maybe it's somewhere in the body, maybe it's just very subtle, but just allowing that to breathe, to be, and we can breathe into it. Just allow this good feeling to expand a little, to open up. If this is working for you, you can come back to that image, whatever evokes that good feeling, refresh it. retune into the body again and feel it. If it's not working for you, that's okay. Just practice the acceptance of wherever you're at. And just for the last few minutes here, we're going to switch to a more expansive loving kindness practice or compassion practice where we're just imagining the people in our lives that we care about and just imagining sending them this warmth and care that we've been cultivating, this good feeling, wishing if that they can feel well, wishing that they can be happy or be safe. And just whoever comes to mind, wishing them to be well. You can imagine them smiling, imagine them being well. Just notice how that makes you feel to be wishing somebody else well. It's kind of a win-win. And then we're going to expand this. So anyone else in the world, or it could be a group of people that, maybe what they're going through is close to your heart, or you just have compassion for them. So just anyone else in the world who you have compassion for, who's maybe in a bad situation now. And just wishing for them to be well, wishing for them to be safe and happy. And then we want to choose a neutral person. So somebody we don't feel strongly about one way or the other, someone we don't really know. Often I'll use, if I encounter someone at the grocery store, I'll bring them to mind. And just wish them to be happy and well. And then we challenge ourselves, which is somebody, you have some friction with or you don't like. It doesn't have to be anyone that you have some heavy thing with. Maybe you're not ready, but just to gently challenge yourself. I'll often use politicians or newscasters or something, somebody who kind of gets on my nerves, and I'll just see if I can wish them to be well and just kind of have some compassion or empathy for realizing that they have probably struggled and suffered a lot in life. And a lot of people find this really difficult, so don't worry if it's not working. It's just trying it out. It's a muscle. And then let's end on a good note, though. So let's come back to ourselves, come back to the people we care about, and just see if there's anything we're grateful for, if we can feel gratitude for something in this moment. All right. Thank you all for practicing with me. It's been great. So, yeah, I'll plug again. I have my own YouTube channel. I recently started doing mindfulness style practices and all sorts of kind of growth stuff. It's called Being Integrated. Andrew just linked it. Thank you, Andrew. I don't know if we do. I think we don't normally do questions for, but if somebody wanted to drop in a question, I'd be open to seeing. but really, just thank you all. It's been an honor to do this. Yeah, some nice feedback. Yeah, so honestly, this is the foundation of my practice, is just being present with what's happening in my body, being present with all the subtle sensations that are really driving my behavior. I find that how I'm feeling is more going to influence how I behave than what I'm thinking, and it's also going to influence what I'm thinking. So it's like the real bread and butter of mindfulness practice is working with thoughts and working with feelings. That's our whole inner world. And so if we can just bring more of these into awareness and clarity and equanimity, it's really deeply kind of can shift. It can really empower us to just be more okay in life. So, all right. Thank you again. Signing off. Hopefully I'll see y'all again one day.